We were a few days away from the Jets taking the field against the Patriots in a huge Week 3 game. Patriots 0-2, Jets licking their wounds with the Cowboys beating up on Zach Wilson and making it feel like it's 2022 all over again. What's your reporting on what the Jets are doing with that quarterback room that appears to be a second straight week of status quo post Rodgers blowing out his Achilles?
I'm glad you asked that, Rich, because like every time I turn on the TV, all I see is debate about should they trade for Kirk Cousins? Should they call Tom Brady? I would tell you this. What the Jets saw the first 3 quarters of that game last week in Dallas against maybe the best player in the game, Micah Parsons, and maybe the best defense in the entire NFL was not all bad from Zach Wilson. He made some plays. He was relatively efficient. He was executing things the way that they wanted to see him in terms of getting through his progressions. Again, dealing with all the pressure. I mean, when Micah Parsons is living in your lap, it's hard for any quarterback to function. The 3 interceptions all came once you're down 3 touchdowns. He's trying to make things happen. Yeah, could he change the decisions or make a better throw on some of those? Absolutely. But you really got into a game scenario there where it got away from him. What the Jets have to do right now, and the viewpoint that they're taking, is the offensive line's got to play better. Again, you're not going to see a lot of fronts, a lot of pass rushers like Micah Parsons, but the offensive line has to play better. They got to give Zach Wilson time, and they got to get the run game going. Yeah, that's it. Now, maybe we're in a different place. If we're come week 8 and the Jets are still alive, they're 5-3 or whatever, then maybe you're talking about going and getting a quarterback. But I don't sense right now that they're sitting there going, there's somebody out there who's going to be this huge upgrade. I mean, even Kirk Cousins, and again, we're way into the hypothetical realm here, Rich, but Kirk Cousins is on a team with the Vikings. It's 0-2, a lot of season left, coming off a 13-4 season. He has a no-trade clause. There's no telling, would he want to go anyplace else? Would he even allow a deal to happen anyplace else? And if you're the Vikings that just paid Danielle Hunter $20 million to come back for this year, you've got Justin Jefferson, another one of the best players in the game. You've got a team that you think could be competitive. You're not looking after 0-2 to go, well, that's it. We're going to roll with Jaron Hall or Nick Mullins or whatever. Again, maybe things change down the line here, but we're still really early in this process. Let's see what Zach Wilson does this week, again, against the Patriots defense that causes all kinds of challenges, and they aim to confuse the quarterback, and they want to take away what you do well. Let's see how they react in this game where maybe you're not quite into that same type of shootout, lopsided game mode like they were last week.
I hear you, Tom, and I appreciate the clear-eyed, calm, clear-headed
I'm trying to
approach.
balance you out.
No, Tom. And I appreciate that. And my question wasn't so much about Zach Wilson because short of the Jets petitioning the NFL to shorten games to just 3 quarters, they have to ride it out with him. And I appreciate you saying they got to get their run game going. That is a Nathaniel Hackett question to answer Breece Hall with his 4 football emojis that he X'd out and then literally X'd out by deleting it. I'm talking about the Zach Wilson decision-making where he winds up in a blue tent and then Tim Boyle's out on the field against Bill Belichick. Good luck to the gangrene then. So why aren't the Jets, maybe have they not kicked the tires on any veteran that's ATC right now to come in and learn the system in case they're the ones that they have to turn to by week 8 because there aren't any other quarterbacks on the market and the Jets aren't ready to win the Super Bowl because of what Zach Wilson has done over the first 8 weeks? You see where I'm going with this, Tom? Why just sit tight with the room as it currently is?
The depth thing is certainly a question. One of the options went off the table when the Rams promoted Brett Rippon to the 53. Not that that's going to be somebody you're anticipating stepping in,
right.
But at least he's been with Hackett. He knows the system. I mean, look who's available out there right now. And this is not to cast aspersions on any of these guys, but from the Jets' point of view, Zach Wilson's the former number 2 overall pick.
I get it. I'm not talking again. I'm not talking about supplanting Zach now. Right. You have to.
Right. But think about the makeup of the room, though. If you go sign Joe Flacco, you sign Carson Wentz, you trade for Case Keenum.
Foles is the one.
I don't know if Nick wants to play anymore, but if he did,
okay.
That'd be another thing that's out there.
Good to know.
Dalton. There's a bunch of guys who potentially could be out there. The moment you bring that guy in, and this is not about Jets fans, Rich, but you also know that the back page headlines and what's chanted in the stadium, if Zach Wilson throws 1 interception, is going to be for Andy Dalton or whoever it is. There is a level, and I'm not saying this, nobody's told me this with the Jets, but I would just say from a quarterback room perspective, when you've got a young quarterback, especially one who's in this type of spotlight with this type of team, and you're trying to bring the best out of him, not bringing in somebody that lends this idea that, hey, were you going to go to this guy? Well, at what point are you going to Flacco? It seems to me, again, just my opinion, from the outside looking in, that they are trying to give Zach Wilson every show of support, not just verbally, but in terms of what they do, that, hey, we believe in you. We're not panicking. We're not going out and getting somebody else. If they lose these next couple, we might be having a totally different conversation, Rich. But I think that there's a little bit of that here where you're just looking and saying, okay, we can't have any signs that we are panicking, because that's going to have a negative impact on the quarterback, who are just trying to believe in himself as much as we're saying we believe in him.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.